Hello everyone, Midnight Wolf here. We are back with Pokemon Volt White. And, well, after what happened last episode, I want my revenge. It's Elisa time. Take two. Here's the team going into the fight. Given the fact that Emolga leads, I'm not sure. Because I can either lead with Trisha and try and go for a Rock Smash on the assumption it doesn't U-turn, or I can try leading with somebody else. But yeah. Anyway, here are the moves. Here's everybody's moves. I got Dragon Dance now, which is nice. This could come in handy. This could come in handy for me, so we'll see. So we'll see what happens here. Anyway, it's showtime. I'll meet you in front of Elisa. Alright, in front of Elisa, let's do this. I'm back for revenge, Elisa! You and me. Alright, round 2 against Elisa. Leads off of Emolga again, same move, leads off of Emolga again. As a reminder, it's got static with Wild Charge, U-turn, Acrobatics, and Roost. I'm gonna go for a Rock Tomb immediately, cause okay, you went for Wild Charge. Alright, let's see what Rock Tomb does to you. Decent amount. Alright, I'm gonna Rock Tomb again. You're gonna Wild Charge again, so this'll kill you. What? Jeez! Alright. Ampharos. Ampharos is level 30. Ampharos has got static for its ability with Thunderbolt, Charge, Focus Blast, and Con Guard. I'm gonna go for Royale on this one because I have an idea. Alright. Let's go Leech Seed. I missed. That's why I wanted to go for Leech Seed, because I know it's got Con Guard. Might as well get some health off of it if it's gonna do that. Alright, so let's Leech Seed it, then I'm gonna try Dragon Breath. So it's at max defense. It's at max defense now. Alright, it's going for charge now to boost its special defense. The the best move it can do against me is Focus Blast, but I don't think it. But that has a chance to miss, obviously, and I'm chipping it down. Ooh. Oh. Okay, she's gonna potion. Elisa won't kill it, I don't think. Nope. Okay, so she's gonna potion. Should I switch? I'm gonna stay out. There's the potion. I mean, again, the worst she could do is Focus Blast, which I should be able to tank just fine. And she's not gonna go for Thunderbolt, so just gotta chip it down. I could go for Leaf Blade, but it's at max defense and it's got static. That's just asking for me to get paralyzed. So there's Focus Blast. Okay. Alright, one more. We should do it. Lychee. Okay, you missed. That's good. I'm gonna get out of this with pretty good health. Alright. What are you gonna do next? Probably no, Galvantula. Interesting choice. Her Galvantula's got compound eyes for its ability with Thunder, Volt Switch, Single Beam, and Energy Ball. I don't remember what your hidden power is. I'm gonna stay in and go for the seeds. Okay, I'm actually faster than you. That's interesting. That's gonna hurt quite a bit. Okay, I'm gonna go for Dragon's Breath just because it's stab and maybe I can paralyze it. Did not paralyze, okay? Alright. Alright, if that's the case, I'm gonna... may look like a bad idea, but I'm gonna try Calm Mind. Never mind, that was not a good plan. I have Sturdy. Yeah, I think switching to Gardevoir is a bad idea. I'll let Katie go down. I'll let Gardevoir go down. And let's try this. I can live one hit of whatever you do, so I'm gonna go Rock Tomb. You missed! Wow! A rare Compound Ice Thunder Miss. You don't see that very often. Alright, Raichu. I can stay in and take a hit from this. Alright, in that case... Oh, what do I do here? You're gonna be faster no matter what I do. I can live one hit. Should I do Rock Tomb? And go for the speed drop? What do you have? Eviolite, okay. What's your speed? 64, 62... 71, 101, 42. And I know you have... And I know... Okay, this archer's got Wild Charge, Volt Switch, Grass Knot, Focus Blast. She's got her A-Zeb Striker left, and her Manectric. So... I'm gonna just go for Dig. Focus Blast is gonna hit, but I'll be underground, so I'll get a free shot in no matter what. Sturdy. Dig. You miss. I've got the Soft Sand boost. And... got it! Alright! Zeb Striker. Alright, this Zeb Striker can't... The only effective move that Zeb Striker has is Double Kick. That's the best move it can do, because Flame Charge is resisted. I'm gonna actually go for one Dragon Dance here. I should be able to live one hit just fine. Plus I'm slower. Okay, actually I could probably take a second one. Alright, you know what? Let's go for +2 then. Why not? I think I can live a third, but I don't want to risk a crit. I should be faster now. Let's go for Dig. Yep, I'm faster. +2 Dig. +2 Dig should kill. Dig. Got it! Alright, I think I've done it. I think it's over. I win. Manectric's gonna come out, but I'm +2. I'm +2 speed and attack. It shouldn't live a Dig. I should outspeed it. I do. That's it. Game over. It's game over. I have won. Got it. Alright. Nice. Alright. Elisa's down. Got a Team TM93 Wild Charge. Normally it's Volt Switch. Wild Charge is a powerful physical move that causes damage to the user. You'd be surprised how many Pokemon can use that TM. Going to Driftvale. You won't be... Alright. Meet her on Route 5. Alright. Alright, well, I'm gonna heal up first, and then we can head to Route 5. Alright, heal up. Alright, let's do this. Actually... Let's do this. We got a rival battle immediately with Charon. That's why I switched my party around. Let's do this. Charon is gonna have a pretty good team here, so I would advise you be careful. He's gonna lead off with a Star Raptor, level 36, normal flying type, holding a sharp beak, with Reckless as its ability. This thing is tough. You gotta be careful here. Lucky for me, I've got an Ampharos that completely walls it. I'm pretty confident that this thing's... Pretty sure this thing has double... This thing's got double edge, I know that, and it should have close combat. It may even have I don't think... It does not have Brave Bird, I do not believe, so keep that in mind. We were speed-tied. How slow is your Braviary if you were speed-tied? Okay. Embor, going for the big guns immediately. Alright, let's do this. Charon Starter! Charon Starter will always be level 38. In this case, it's Embor, Embor, which is a fire ground type in this. And it's always going to have a Citrus Berry, its hidden ability, in which case it'll be adaptability for Embor. And yeah, it's gonna be pretty. This thing's gonna be tough. So I'm gonna go for the lead seed just in case. Alright, I'm gonna go Leaf Blade. Sucker Punch. Alright, Leaf Blade. Not a lot. I should be faster, so... No! Really? That's an interesting call. So, Charon's Monkey. Charon's Elemental Monkey. Always going to be level 36. Will always have an Expert Belt, so... We'll always have an Expert Belt, so don't get hit by a super effective move from this thing. And it'll always have it'll always have Torrent, Blaze, or Overgrown, depending on which monkey it is. But yeah, yeah, what do I want to do here? It probably is acrobatics. It's probably going to go for that. I'm just going to stay and see what happens here. Wow! Oh, I didn't get... Wait. Ha! You didn't go for acrobatics. That would have killed me. Alright, I got another crit. Thanks, Scopelens. Got away with one. Gigalith. You're seriously sending that out? Alright, his Gigalith. Level 36 pure rock type. Always going to have, it'll have a hard stone. And it'll always have sturdy, no matter what. Gonna go for Leaf Blade just to get some damage on this thing. And break it sturdy. And then I can send someone else in to finish it. Rock Slide. Yeah, no hope. Yeah, no hope I was living that. Don't you have a grass? Yeah, you do. Okay. Magical Leaf. This should kill, I think. Nope. Stealth Rock. Okay. Alright. Magic, do it again. Got it. Alright, next up. Back up. Out comes Embor again. Right, Embor was still damaged. Alright, Psybeam. Sucker Punch again, huh? Oh! Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, but I understand why you went for that. Alright, Avery. Then I go for Dig. Heat Crash, yikes. Okay, Dig should finish it off. No! Oh, uh-oh. What are you doing? Heat crash. Okay. Wow! Okay, dig again. Alakazam. Alright. His final mon for this fight is Alakazam. Level 36, pure psychic type, will always have a twisted spoon, always will will have magic guard or synchronized depending on which version you pick. If you have Also, I should have mentioned this as well. Same thing obviously applies with the starters, the monkeys, and Staraptor. They'll have their normal abilities if you play the clean version. Anyway, reflect. Alright, I have a hunch I know what you're gonna do. I have a hunch you... What? What is it? Do you not have a way to hit me? Alright, well in that case I'm just gonna slow you down. This Alakazam can't hit me, apparently. It either can't or won't hit me because it does not have a good move for that. It probably has either Psybeam or Psychic. I'm faster than it now. Okay, and got it. That was incredibly dumb, Charon. I don't know what. I guess I'm assuming his Alakazam had Psybeam and just didn't go for it because he knew it wasn't super effective. But I don't know what he was doing. The AI just decided not to do anything. All right. Anyway. Elisa's gonna bring us here, and then we're gonna interrupt it by Alder. Now, normally this is important, but since I don't have any other major battles before the next gym, I think we could take a detour. I think we can take a detour with this and start going over the new encounters for the. Start going for the new encounters, on Route 5, because I covered Route 16 last time. So, with that out of the way, and with this battle beginning, let's get started. So, Solosis. What is this thing? Honestly, I don't know, but what I do know is that this thing is a very good glass cannon. Well, for the most part. It's a little on the slow side. Doesn't have the best defensive stats, but it's still very solid if you can work around it. This is one of the good Pokemon that you should probably use Trick Room with if you choose to go with that. So keep that in mind. As for the Pokemon itself, don't have much that I can really say though. Get some new moves to work with. But there are only two of them that are really of any use, which are Shockwave and Confuse Ray. But regardless, this thing's pretty solid. It does give Regenerator and Magic Guard, though, as abilities to work with. Regenerator's good for just switching this thing in and out. Granted, it's slow, but still, you can probably switch this thing in and out if you want to make it a good stall, a semi-decent staller with screens. Or Magic Guard to just completely block any status effect if you know your opponent might go for one. So keep that in mind. It could be pretty useful for you in the long term with this one. Don't sleep on this. Next up though is another interesting one. Gotharita. This thing I never fully understood. It's supposed to be a more defensive counterpart to Solosis, but I don't really think anybody really saw it as that. I think they saw it as just as a simply Solosis, but less frail. I don't know. I never understood this one. But what I do understand is that this thing is pretty solid. Is even better than it was before now. Now that it is now Psychic Dark type, which you wouldn't see for another game, which we wouldn't see for another game cycle, and it's also now able to learn Will-O-Wisp as an interesting move. Gets Magic Bounce, which is also a nice ability to have. Shadow Tag as its main ability, replacing Frisk once you fully evolve it. And yeah, this thing also got a pretty good buff to its special attack, like ridiculously good special attack boost. So watch out for this thing. If you don't play around this thing, you are going to pay for it hard. Although it is quite weak to bug now, so I guess there is that, and it's also neutral to fighting types. So keep note of that if you choose to go for this thing. So this thing is pretty good now. Don't forget it. Otherwise you will learn to regret that decision. Moving on to the next Pokemon. One of the classic Gen 1 favorites, Coughing. Oh boy, what do I say about this one? What do I say about this thing? A pretty good defensive wall. Learns a pretty interesting moves to work. Has a pretty good moves to work with. Not the best ones, but not the worst ones either. It just works really well as being a wall, and can deal some pretty solid damage if needed. Also, here's Volt Switch if you were curious as to where that TM went. But yeah. Still has Levitate, can learn Sludge Wave, which is a move you can pick up in the battle subway. And yeah, got a slight special attack boost as well. Nothing too wrong with that, honestly. This thing also can explode, so remember that. Also, if you find a shiny Coughing, you know what you need to. If you're a fan of Sugar Conroy, you know what you need to name this thing. Come on. You know exactly what you need to do with it. Now go find a shiny Coughing and go name it Methane. Do it. No, seriously, go do that. Anyway, moving on. Oh boy. This thing. This freaking thing. Take the bulk of Coughing and amplify it slightly, make it a little bit faster, but give it a really shitty design, and call it a day. You get Trumpish and Garbodor. And these two are actually okay, as we found out. Granted, they don't get any. Granted, they still don't learn. They aren't able to learn Poison Jab for some unexplained reason. But still, it could be worse. Garbodor's special attack got a slight boost, so I guess if you want to use Sludge Bomb, it won't be that bad. This thing also gets Psychic for some reason. Yeah, I don't know either. But still, could be worse. Could definitely be worse, although it could be better too. But regardless, not a bad thing to work with. So I think this thing's okay. Might be able to save you if you need it. And it even has a cave too. So hey, there you go. Don't have anything else to say on that one. Moving on to the next Pokemon though. Oh boy, Gulpin. What on earth is this thing? What on earth is this thing? Like, no, seriously, what on earth is this thing supposed to be? Honestly, I have no idea. Just, this thing is it's pretty bulky, but do you really want to use this thing, or do you even remember this thing existing? I don't think a whole lot of people wanted to use this thing as their poison type through Gen 3. I'm pretty sure everyone else went with Tentacruel, Roselia, or something else more competent. Either way, I don't know. This one's probably a bit of a pass, although it did get a big special attack boost, and it does get some pretty interesting TMs to work with. This thing can learn Ice Beam and Shadow Ball, apparently. So make of that what you will. I don't have much else to say on that, but this thing might be okay, but there are better poison types in this area that you should probably use instead. Anyway, we're moving on. And we're moving on to another Gen 1 classic, Grimer. This thing is actually useful for more than you would expect at first glance. First of all, it's a defensive tank, which is pretty solid to have. It's traditionally how most poison types are. Aside from that, the other main thing is that this line first of all gets Stench and Poison touches in its two abilities, which are pretty good abilities in themselves. Second of all, 50% of the time, Grimer and Muck will be holding the Toxic Orb. So if you have a Pokemon that works with the ability Guts, this is one of your best chances to pick up that item. So you may want to make use of that. The Grimer Muck and Grimer both can learn Shadow Sneak and Shadow Punch, so you have a way to deal with those pesky Psychic types as well, with a priority move or as just a strong Ghost move in general. And Muck also gets Curse. As if this thing wasn't physically bulky enough, you could make it even more bulky and boost its physical attack. And if you pair it with Shadow Sneak, you have a pretty solid shot of being able to take out any Psychic type you feel like with Shadow Sneak and that. So keep that in mind. There's some pretty solid potential behind this thing that you may not have noticed. Next up on the list, though, it's Ditto. I don't have anything else I really need to say about this thing. It's Ditto. If you wanted to get Ditto for breeding reasons, to try and get a better Pokemon or something like that, this is your chance to do it. So keep that in mind. Aside from that, don't have much else I can say on it. Don't have much else to say on Ditto. I also don't have much else to say on the next Pokemon on the list either, Mime Jr. And also by extension, I should probably mention Bonsly is also here. Neither of these two baby Pokemon are of particular note. I mean, granted, they become much better things later. But again, I don't know. My opinion on Mime Jr. and Bonsly are just look at the stats of their fully evolved versions and go based on that. Because you're just gonna be handicapped until you evolve these things. If I remember correctly, both Pokemon need the move Mimic to be able to evolve. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind with these two. I will note that Mime Jr. can get the ability Filter, which is a pretty solid ability, I believe, and also gets Technician. But I don't know how useful Technician would be, honestly. As for Bonsly, on the other hand, it gets sturdy, I guess. It gets sturdy, I guess, but I mean, a lot of other things get sturdy. So is that really all that special? Not really. As for Sudowoodo, on the other hand, though, did get quite a few buffs, which is nice. boost to its HP, which it probably needed. A decent boost to its attack and defense, making it really good at that. And special defense got a bit of a boost as well. So in general, this thing got some buffs to make it a little bit more viable as a single stage, well, I guess it's not a single stage Pokemon, but still, it got a buff that it probably needed to compete with other rock types as well, especially in a game like this. So keep that in mind. That might come in handy for you. Final regular Pokemon in this area is Pachirisu. I could just say Pachirisu. I could just say the notable thing about Pachirisu, but I'm not gonna go there. Although the only major things of note is that it's got a major special attack boost. So I guess you have that going for you. Aside from that, none of its other stats were changed. Holy crap, that's a Munchlax, and it does get pickups. So I guess if you wanted to get a Mon for pickup, this is one of them. But then again, you've had access to Zigzagoon for a while, so I don't know. That one's up to you. That one's up to you. Moving ahead though, there are some other Pokemon here in the Double Battle Grass that I should probably make note of. First off, Nidorina and Nidorino, which for these two, it depends on do you want a special attacker, or do you want a tank, or do you want an attacker? That's the difference between these two. The other thing of note, obviously, is do you want a ground poison type on your team? If the answer is yes, then go ahead. If the answer is yes, you want that, go for it. Because they'll be at a much higher level, and you'll have more TMs available than what you could have found the two Nidorans earlier. You also have a chance of finding their fully evolved versions in the shaky grass, but I wouldn't recommend doing that because they're stone evolutions, and they'll be lacking a lot of the moves that make them good normally. So keep that in mind. You should probably find them here if you want to use them. Just don't go for the shaking grass unless you want it as a commodity. Moving ahead, Rufflet. This thing, one of the normal version exclusives that you find really late on in the game, and normally it really freaking sucks. Not anymore though, because you can find Rufflet at reasonable levels earlier in the game. It evolves at level 39. Has Hustle, which becomes Defiant. Or it can have Sheer Force, which is an amazing ability in general. Keep that in mind. Aside from that, not much else to say there. This line is pretty solid, and you now have a lot easier access to use this thing. Next mon up on the list. We're going through this pretty quickly here. Lickitung. One of the most recent shinies I actually found on legitimate hardware. A shiny Lickitung in the Safari Zone in Heart Gold Soul Silver. That aside, Lickitung is interesting. Its abilities are a bit meh as a Lickitung, but as a Licky, it does get thick fat. It does get thick fat if you had Cloud9 as your ability, so keep that in mind. That aside, it gets a rainbow assortment of different moves that it can learn via TM in this game. So just if you choose to use this thing, check its TM list. It learns quite a bunch of different moves to work with here. As for when this thing evolves, if I remember correctly, this thing evolves via learning the move. This thing evolves via learning the move Rollout. So keep that in mind. Anyway, aside from that, don't have much else to say on this line though. I do have a bit to say on the next line though. Minccino. This line is interesting. it gets access to Technician in the gets access to Skill Link in the next game normally, but in this game it actually does seem to get Skill Link, which is kind of interesting. You can you can cause some chaos, cause a little bit of chaos with this thing. See what happens. Perso- personally, I think Technician can also work as a really good ability for this line because for the main fact that Technician will boost the power of every single hit. I think if I remember how the calculations work with multi-hit moves, that's how it works. But regardless, Skill Link or Technician both work. Its attack has a slight buff. Nothing else to note there. You're gonna need a heart skill to get all the useful moves that benefit from Skill Link, but aside from that, don't have much else to say though. I would probably recommend evolving it after level 25 for the Shiny Stone, but aside from that, don't have anything else to say on it. It's a pretty solid mon. Just gotta put some effort in with some hard skills to make this thing worthwhile using. But it can surprise you. I can guarantee you that. Going on, next Pokemon or Pokemons on the list, because technically they're supposed to be counters to each other. Miltank, and Tauros. I'll start with Miltank. Obviously, as you know, is the Devil Spawn in the is the Devil Spawn bad guy in the Pokemon universe. If you were to ask anybody who's played Gen 2 before and has had to deal with that. Aside from that though, if you don't flat out have PTSD from Miltanks, this thing is a pretty solid tank. Get some pretty okay moves to work with. Nothing too flashy, but has pretty solid defense. Can use Milk Drink to heal itself up, and it's pretty alright in my opinion. Not terrible. Although I'm personally not going to use this because I have problems with this thing. I have problems with this thing myself. As for Tauros on the other hand, it's the Gen 1 counterpart of this thing. The Gen 1 counterpart is just a fast physical attacker that learns a hell of a lot of different moves, hits hard, doesn't have a lot of defense, but it doesn't really need that when it can usually obliterate everything in its way before you even get a chance to do anything. And the last two notable Pokemon on this route in the double battle in the dark grass at least, Bagon. Good luck finding this thing at a 5% encounter rate, but if you find it, oh boy, Salamence is here and it's ready to play ball with you. Rockhead will become intimidated when fully evolved. Sheer Force, on the other hand, will be overcoat as a Shell Gun and then become Moxie as a Salamence. So keep that in mind. If you want to have a really good sweeper, Salamence might be your thing with Moxie, if you can get it. Of course, it's a Salamence, it's going to evolve at level 50, but if you're willing to put in the effort to get it, oh boy, this line isn't going to let you down. Although, don't expect to get Dragon Dance, because it gets Dragon Dance at level 75 as a Salamence. The lowest level you can get Dragon Dance for this entire evolution line, level 61 as a Bagon. So you're not going to be seeing Dragon Dance for a while. Same thing applies with Outrage, but then again, you'll get Dragon Claw by then, so you'll be fine. It does get Roost though, which is an interesting move to work with on a Salamence, so keep that in mind. Aside from that, not much else to say there. It's just the Bagon line just got better somehow. Keep that in mind. Last one on the list to mention is Munchlax. Don't need to say anything else. Munchlax is just Snorlax but better. It's just baby Snorlax. They'll always be holding leftovers. Snorlax is a beast in itself, so keep that in mind. it evolves via happiness, but it starts with a higher happiness level when you catch it outside of a luxury ball or friend ball. So you won't really have anything to worry about here, I don't think. Yeah. Don't aside from that, I don't have anything else. That's it for all the new. It for pretty much for all the new encounters. Aside from only other things to mention, in the special grass, you can find Autono, Emolga, Chinchino, which again I wouldn't recommend going out of your way to find that because it's a stone evolution, and Braviary, which is a hit or miss. You miss out on a few you miss out on like one or two moves as a Rufflet, but it's a Braviary. That thing is gonna hit hard regardless of the fact. So maybe maybe it's worthwhile to go after that, but it's a 10% chance regardless. It's possibly not worth your time to do that. But yeah, I did also couple other things to mention. There are some Pokemon on Driftveil Drawbridge, but I will be going over those along with the Pokemon in the cult storage at a later point. And by at a later point, I mean in the next episode. Although there is one other thing I need to mention though. In fact, there are two other things to mention though, because I didn't actually mention them in the last episode. In Lost Lorn Forest, which is an offshoot of Route 16, you have a chance to find at a 1% chance in the double battle grass at a later, which you can't access immediately, but you'll get access to it later. You can potentially find Mew and Celebi at 1% chances each. Just thought I'd mention that. You don't have access to get there now, but once you can't get there, that is an option for you. Aside from that, though, we're in Driftveil City, which has some of the best music in the game. So I think I'll end off this episode here in Driftveil City with the really nice music. And with that out of the way, I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.